Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations, much love and respect to you, Akim, out there pushing this word out in truth and sincerity. Now, this lesson is going to be based on this video mostly. And this shows you everything that we've been saying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. What we've been prophesying about how bad it's going to get in the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay. And the Lord is working with these elites to bring it to pass. Okay. Because it's part of his prophecies. It has to come to pass. Now, as you can see in this title, which I got this, by the way, from the elder Mawatazak out of LA. You know, he did a video on this. Very edifying lesson. Okay. It says Michael Yon warns. This is Michael Yon here. Okay. Engineered migrant invasion and occupation targeting all Western nations. Now, you might say, okay, what's wrong with that? It's a melting pot. You know, they're just coming to find a better life. No, these are not just people that are looking to find a better life and start a family. There's actually military invaders from other countries that are getting into America, into Canada, into, like he said, all Western nations, really all of the beast nations. Okay, which is all Edomite nations. All right, and they're about to wreak havoc, and he's going to go into it. Now, before I even play this video, let me read Jeremiah 30:7. Okay, let's start with that. Matter of fact, I'll start at 5. It says, this is Jeremiah 30:5. It says, "For thus saith Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness." Okay, from what? From fear. Okay, it's going to be a very fearful sight out here, and they're setting it up to be that way. They want to do what? Or they want to bring order out of chaos, but there's going to be some serious chaos out here. Okay, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. There's no day that you're going to be able to compare to what's getting ready to come. We cannot stress that enough. Okay, there's no time in history. There's no movie that you can watch to really feel what it's going to be like. You know, there's some movies that can give you a close simulation, but even that is not going to be the same as when you're in it. Let's get Amos 5. This is Amos 5 and verse. Give me a second. It's Amos 5 and 18. I don't know why I didn't see it. Salakia. This is Amos 5 verse 18. It says, "Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light." Okay. As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall and a serpent bit him. Okay, so in other words, there's going to be hell after hell after hell. There's not going to be any escape of the tribulation in that time. It's going to be on every side. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark, and no brightness in it? And this is what is being prepared ultimately by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh.
Is there a crisis at our southern border?
Senator, there is a very significant...
Salakia. Give me a second. Now, this is a video of Senator Cruz grilling Secretary Mayorkas. Okay, so and he's responsible for the border crisis that's going on. Okay, he's one of the people that's responsible for it, and it's all orchestrated. It's all on purpose. Okay, so let's run this back real quick.
Morning.
Is there a crisis at our southern border?
Senator, there is a very significant...
That's a yes or no question.
There's a very significant...
Is there a crisis?
Senator, there's a very significant challenge...
I think your microphone is not on.
There is a very significant challenge that we are facing.
Yes or no, is there a
border.
crisis?
I believe I've addressed that question.
So you're refusing to answer?
Senator, there is a very significant challenge, and
will you answer if there's a crisis?
Therefore, we are dedicating the resources...
Okay, so you're refusing to answer. Well, Secretary Mayorkas, I'll tell you someone who is willing to answer, which is your and President Biden's chief of the Border Patrol in a sworn deposition in July of 2022 when asked, would you agree, Chief Ortiz, that the southern border is currently in crisis? Answer, yes. Notice none of those wiggle words, none of that equivocation. One word, one syllable, yes. Are you willing to speak with the same clarity as Chief Ortiz? Is there a crisis at our southern border? Yes or no?
Which this is what Esau does when he's questioned about things and he's caught on something. What he does is he circumvents the question. He beats around the bush. That's the tactics of the serpent instead of giving a clear answer. All right. But the point is that, yes, there is a crisis at the border and it's orchestrated. OK, it's done on purpose, deliberately.
No.
Senator, I'm very proud to work alongside...
So you refuse to answer. Let me ask you the next question. Has the crisis at our southern border made Americans less safe? Yes or no?
Senator, we are dedicated to the safety
and security. Has the crisis made Americans less safe? I don't want a discourse. It's a yes or no question.
Senator, we have a challenge of...
You refuse to answer the question. Mr. Secretary, let me show you how someone doing his job answers a question in a straightforward manner. Chief Ortiz, is the crisis that is currently ongoing at the southern border making the border less safe for Americans and aliens alike? Answer, yes. One word, one syllable, 3 letters. That's how someone answers a question and does their job. You're being a politician misleading the American people. Let me give you a chance again. Will you show the same integrity Chief Ortiz shows? Is the crisis at the southern border making Americans less safe? Yes or no?
Senator, we have 260,000...
You refuse to answer the question. Let's move on.
And security of the
Next question, Mr. Mayorkas. Has the crisis made aliens less safe? Yes or no?
Senator, we are seeking...
So you won't answer that question either. It's a yes or no. Has it made aliens less safe?
Senator, smugglers are...
Let me read this real quick. This is Psalms 10:7. It says, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. And you can see that right now. They have their words are never straightforward. It's always full of deceit, fraud. They say one thing, but it's really cursing. Okay. And under their tongue is mischief and vanity. Okay, so you can see that, and this is how all these Edomites are when they're questioned and cornered. Okay, and this guy Cruz, if he's cornered, right? If he's an Edomite, he's gonna do the same type of thing as him. If he's cornered in something that he has done, okay, because this is how these Edomites get down. If he's an Edomite, all right. So at the end of the day, this is how these Edomites get down. So you can see that there's a crisis in the border. He's being questioned about, but there's clearly a crisis in the border, at the border, and they're not doing anything to stop it because that's part of the plan of bringing in that chaos in these so-called first world countries, which are these Edomite countries. So The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to this interview. All right? Play some of this.
You did this bombshell back-to-back 2 days of tours of the San Vicente camp. And what was the other one? Was it Lojas Blancas? Was that the camp?
Lajas Blancas. I'm beside San Vicente right now, actually.
Okay.
And so, go ahead, sir.
Well, so then the very next day, after this bombshell exposure, which, by the way, your video and what we did together there, it was tweeted out by General Flynn, and just a lot of high-level people were sharing it all over Twitter. Got a ton of attention. The very next day, Joe Biden and Antony Blinken announced their plan to close the camps. Now, you expressed to me privately you thought that would not happen. Have you seen any activity whatsoever that would indicate these camps are going to be closed?
I'm getting some mixed signals. I was just at San Vicente again. It's like 200 or 300 meters from me right here. So I'm right beside the camp. And
now these camps are where these people are being gathered and shipped to, America, Canada, and these different parts of Europe, which is the beast system countries, that's why it says Western nations. They're targeting Western nations. Okay, and who's in the midst of these people he's going to mention are military people, okay? But not troops from America. These are foreign troops. And the reason why Esau is using foreign troops is because American troops might have a soft spot for their own people, of killing their own people and doing certain things. But these foreign troops, they don't give a damn about Americans, okay? Or any other country that's not their country, okay? So this is why. So the Lord is preparing things perfectly. So I just hope he gets to the point quickly. I know he says it, but it's a long video.
In fact, these guys, they don't work at the camp. So anyway, the Senate front told me today, as have others in the Panamanian government, it does not look like the camps are closing. However, I'm getting some other signals that there may be within the United States government, there's talk about it, right? However, we also know that the Secretary of Homeland Security, Mayorkas, and others are talking about clearing people straight through Colombia and Guatemala. In other words, so they fly straight to the United States. We saw former Presidents Bush and Obama and Clinton all together talking about teaming up with American Express and others to send people directly into American cities, which they're already doing anyway, by the way. They're just talking about increasing that. And we see right now, Title 42 looks like it's about to drop. And I'm telling you, right now, we effectively have no borders. We already know that. We're being completely invaded. And actually, the same thing here in Panama. The Panamanians are extremely upset. Panamanian government has told me that about 11% of the population, 11% of the population of Panama now is actually new Venezuelans, right?
Wow.
And so, and constantly they're bugging me here for money, the Venezuelans. And it's really angering the Imbra Indians, the Wunan Indians, the Kuna Indians, and the Panamanians. For instance, last time I was here about, 12 days ago, there were 6 Panamanian elders meeting at the next table over here. They were very angry, and they were talking about trying to close down these camps. So we've got everybody wants to close these camps down, except for the U.S. government, which is and the World Economic Forum and the Chinese Communist Party, which are using them as invasion camps. The same's happening over in Europe.
Well, that's what I want to ask you.
Using them as what? Invasion camps. Now let's look up the word invasion. Okay, because he used the word invasion. That's a very specific word. Because when it's time, these sleeper cells are going to awake, okay, and do what they're set up to do. Okay? Let's get the meaning of invasion. Okay? It says an instant of invading a country or region with an armed force. Okay? And this is what they are. There's armed forces within them. Not every single one of them are military, but amongst them, right? So you might, I don't know how much, maybe out of every 100, there might be 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever, 10 that are actually military. Okay, and I remember seeing a video of them catching a few Chinese, the nationalists, that were in America, and they were shipping them back or from United States to America. And how are they getting there? They're getting there through these different camps. They're coming from the southern border, okay, and going into United States and going into Canada, okay. And this is all being prepared for what the order, the chaos, okay, because a lot of things are going to be, a lot of things are going to be escalated through those people. Okay. They start putting farmers to death and taking their land and taking people's homes, whatever the case may be. Well, that all goes into what? 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. Let's get that real quick, man. Let's jump and get 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. Okay. Okay. So 2nd Ezra 15. We'll start at 14. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands," which represents what? Weaponry, man. Whether it be guns or grenades or bats or actual knives or machetes, right? These things are going to be used in that time. It's going to be common for people to be put to death by other people. Okay. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another." Now that's going to be what? An uprising against the government. Speaking of an uprising against the government, which is going to lead to that. Okay. That's all that chaos. "And invading one another. They shall not regard." What does it mean invading? Kicking down doors. Okay. Okay, they're invading these different countries, but soon they're going to start invading these people's homes, these people's lands, and taking what they have, taking their property. Okay, that's all part of the chaos. So guess what? Esau, according to Esau's agenda, which is the agenda of Satan, all right, it fits in with the Most High's agenda. Okay, which is Jacob's trouble, which is the chaos that's going to ensue and the judgment that's going to ensue upon these people. It says, "They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." All right. And oh man, man, wait till that famine hits. Ain't nobody gonna listen to what the hell the government has to say. Okay. It says, "A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able." Right. The locking off cities. "For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor." So he's not going to have it. Men are not going to have mercy anymore. The scripture says, "Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold." Okay. "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread." That lack of bread. This is what's going to be. It's going to be a great motivator for these people, man. Okay. And for great tribulation. And these people are not used. These people are used to eating 3 meals a day with snacks. And then on top of that, they're eating all manner of garbage. So they're really not, their body's really malnourished. Okay. And they got all kind of parasites in them that constantly need to be fed. All right. You see me, I'm used to eating 1 meal a day. That's really what I've been on for the longest time. It's like 1 meal a day. Every now and then I'll have 2 meals. Okay. But then I feel like I overate when I have 2 meals. Okay. You see? So these people ain't used to that. And we fast from time to time. They don't fast. So these people are through. And at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, because Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is with us anyway, as long as we continue in this truth. Okay, that's what the word says. Okay, so these people are done out here, man. These people are done, and Yahweh Shem Yahushai is setting them up. Okay, he's setting them up for the okie doke. Let's go to 2 Ezra 16, man. Start at 69. Okay, so 2 Ezra 16 and 69 says, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision. Matter of fact, I'll start at 70. It says, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. So guess what? The men of the Lord are going to be tried too. But as we're being tried, these other people are going to be tried as well. Okay, except they're not going to have a helper. All right. It says, they shall be like madmen, sparing none. Who? These military people. They're going to be like madmen, sparing none. Okay, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. Right? It's mentioning those that fear the Lord, but it's not just going to be the ones that fear the Lord. It's the, them so-called Christians and so on and so forth. They're going to get it too. Okay, them whether you're a Muslim, you're going to get it too. Whether you're an atheist, you're going to get it too. Okay, this is a takeover, man. Okay, this is a complete takeover, and you people are one of the are considered an enemy to the NWO until you completely submit. All right, you know. So, and even listen, man, a lot of people, they just don't want on the planet, period. So, hey, so Esau is gonna bring forth a lot of death. Okay. Said, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Now he's going into that, right? How they're gonna be, stealing from them, taking their farms and things of that nature. Well, that's taking away their goods, is it not? So, anyways, let's keep reading this. I mean, let's keep listening to this.
Was about the Chinese next, because you have told me privately, you sent me some videos of a lot of Chinese nationals moving through this area and even receiving money on the streets there. Lots of things happening that are very concerning, because this Panamanian, these camps aren't just about South Americans or Central Americans moving through. Somehow Chinese nationals, which could be CCP operatives. I believe that you've probably seen some CCP operatives, have you not?
No, clearly. I mean, the signs and symptoms are obvious. In fact, there's about 40 Chinese in this camp beside me right now. That was about an hour and a half ago. That number by now will have changed. Some will have just taken off in the buses, and others will be adding in. So they're constantly, it's coming and going constantly. So, I mean, one of the big questions in my mind was, how do Chinese even get there in the first place? Now, you sent me this video the other day that showed, it was a Chinese language video that was talking about how to go from city to city. You take a boat here, you take a horse, you walk this piece, and then you get on a 4x4 and so on. It was basically a how-to guide of how to move through these camps and cross the border illegally into the United States. But how are they getting to Panama in the first place? Or Ecuador was in that video as well. Yeah, an interesting thing about the Chinese is
yeah, because they're being brought over there. That's how they got there. You know, they got there because they've been brought over there. You see?
Seriously getting new passports and exit visas from China, and they're able to get from China to Quito, Ecuador, right? So they go to Quito, Ecuador mostly, and then, or actually some are actually bypassing that and they go straight up to Mexico. Like they'll get tourist visas in Mexico if they've got enough money to do a package tour at one of the package tour places in Mexico, for instance, on Yucatan Peninsula. But so they'll head to, most of them that are coming through here, though, that come through Darien Gap, they go to Quito, Ecuador first. Then they jump on buses and they go up to Nicocli, Colombia, which I've done before. I haven't taken the bus, but I've gone up to Nicocli. And then you jump on a boat and you go to Cartagena, Colombia. And then from there, the Chinese, they have more money. So then they take another boat and then they go around to these Cuna, India areas over in Panama, and they'll go through a place called, they'll go through one called Anachucana, another called Amarillo, and another one called Querétaro. and they'll just walk through the jungle for a couple of days through the Darien Gap, not the easier route. And then they'll come out at a village called Canman Video, which I've been to maybe a dozen times. And then they'll come out right here on this highway right behind me, and they go to this camp, and then they get on a bus, and they head right up the highway. The buses you just missed, they're on the way to Costa Rica right now. So, wow. And then later tonight, there'll be a bunch more buses leave here as well. As you can see, the sun is still up. But later tonight, they'll do it again.
So, okay, so many questions, but what I don't understand is how can these people carry money with them without being robbed and losing all their money? And because they have to pay a bus fare in order to take that bus, and they have to pay along the way to get on the riverboat or to take the horses or the 4x4s or what have you, aren't they just routinely robbed?
However, it's a full fascist state. Fascism, of course, is when Substack, he just published on it today, actually. I think you know Sam Faddis. He may have been on your show. If not, he should be. And he talks about these sorts of things all the time.
No, we should get him on. Yeah, do an introduction. We'll get him on. But, you know, I mean, there have been people arrested in America for getting on an airplane after having a TB diagnosis. They were arrested for intentionally spreading tuberculosis. That's happened in America. And yet, as you just say, TB positive, TB infected people are walking right across the border, and Mayorkas is complicit in it.
Right. So there we go. So you also have pestilence, that they're allowing to come up in there. So there's all kind of things that's getting ready to bring hell on earth, in other words, man. So anyways, that's pretty much, I mean, there's a lot more in that video, of course, but that's the point I wanted to make. We got some points there of how they're being brought in, and the subversion tactics, and it's gonna be, I didn't really watch the full thing to find the points and save the markers, but you can see based upon what the video's saying and what I'm telling you of how it's gonna be. How they're getting ready to orchestrate these things and have these sleeper cells amongst you already, all right? Which they're already amongst you now. They're already in your cities. They're already in your, some of your neighbors, some of your, what I mean? They're already there, okay? This is Isaiah 59:19. It says, so shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. Okay, so the enemy is dealing with what? They're dealing with these Edomites and dealing with these troops. Okay, all right. The troops is really the main thing that's going to come in like a flood. Okay, and the spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him, meaning what? He's going to protect his men. Okay, he's going to fight for us. Because these devils, they got all the weaponry, they got all the technology, they got the power. They're that strong enemy that was too strong for us, and this is why the Lord is going to help us. This is Psalms 124 and verse I'll start on 1. It says, if it had not been Yahweh who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been Yahweh who was on our side when men rose up against us, then they had swallowed us up quick when their wrath was kindled against us. Then the waters had overwhelmed us, the stream had gone over our soul, right? But guess what? If the Lord is with you, you don't have to worry about that. Okay, he's going to guide you, he's going to help you. Then the proud waters had gone over our soul. All right. Blessed be Yahweh, who hath not given us as a prey to their teeth. And what does their teeth represent? Their military power. Okay. Our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. The snare is broken and we are escaped. You see, but these devils and these 2/3 Jakes and these wicked Jakes, they don't have any helper. Okay, they don't have Yahweh Shem Yahushai to deliver them from that, so they're just gonna have to face that judgment. Because at the end of the day, the Lord has this all set up for the purpose of judgment. This is why it's important to kiss the Son, lest he be angry. Okay, meaning what? You have to do right by Yahweh Shai, you know, that he may be with you. This is Jeremiah 15:2. It says, and it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt say, then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord, such as are for death to death, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity. So there's going to come a point where the doors of mercy are going to be shut, and then you're just going to be left for these judgments. Okay, the Lord's just going to say, listen, man, it is what it is. You know, those that are to die are going to, those that are going to die are going to die. Those that are going to get put to death by the sword or put into captivity or die of famine, hey, it's already orchestrated for you, because the doors of mercy are closed. And we're getting closer and closer to that time, okay? It says, and I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith the Lord, the sword to slay and the dogs to tear. Don't forget the wild beasts now, okay? These people are going to a lot of these people are just going to let loose their pit bulls and their Rottweilers because they can't afford to feed them, okay? Then you're going to have other wild beasts, man. Bears, wolves, you name it. And the fowls of the heaven and the beast and the birds are going to attack as well, okay? And the beast of the earth to devour and destroy. Okay, so get ready, man. This is what's coming. Okay, and who is Esau to the Lord? Esau is nothing more than the sword of the Lord. Just like the Assyrians was the rod of the Lord, so are the Edomites, man. He's using them as a form of punishment, man. Really, his wrath is going to be within them. This is what's going to make it so crazy. Okay, because his wrath is going to literally be inside of these devils. This is Psalms 17:13. It says, arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. Okay, so this is the sword of the Lord that's being activated. Let's get Isaiah 10, man. It's Isaiah 10 and verse 5. It says, O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. So it's whose indignation? It's the Lord's indignation. It's the Lord's anger that's being exacted and being and about to be released on you people, man. Okay. So anyways, with that, Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect, and I'll say shalom.